Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. My name is The Real Legend, and we are here with NBA 2K Mobile. In today's video, I will be ranking the top centers in NBA 2K Mobile, and this is episode number 5 of my tier list series, where I use the tier maker to rank the best players in the game. With the playoffs theme being out for a week, it made sense to drop this video, which will highlight some of the great centers in that theme. So let's get into the tier list. Now, before I get into the tiers, let me break down how I rank the centers. I normally base my list off the overall stat average of the players, but for the centers, I had to change my strategy since most of the dominant centers have lower averages due to the lack of a jump shot and shoot-off dribble. So I factored in gameplay for head-to-head mode and how effective the centers are based off my own experiences. We are starting with Gassol. Now, Gassol has strong post scoring, decent mid-range shot, and he can hit an occasional 3. Next on the list is Deandre Ayton. Now, Deandre Ayton is an underrated gem with decent stats. With the right build, he can have many stats above 5. Now, next is Lambert. Now, Lambert low-key is one of the best shooting centers stat-wise in the game. He's got a 5 in mid-range and a 5 in 3-point shooting. Next, you got Bam Adebayo. Recent stat buffs made Bam more usable in lineups. Now he deserves to be in the tier list. He's a decent rebounder and a decent defender, but he still can use some help in the scoring category. Next, you got Alonzo Mourning. Alonzo Mourning is another gem who needs a rarity upgrade. He's a strong rebounder and a great post scorer. The next player is Maneuv Manupo. Manupo is one of the GOATs for head-to-head. Incredible shot blocking due to his height and length and easy and cheesy pick-and-roll dunks. Alright, next on the list, next on the D tier is the Kambe Mutombo. Very similar to Manupo. As you can see, their stats are very low for the scoring. Pure defenders, pure rebounders. Good enough to make it to the tier list. So now let's get into the C tier. Kicking off the C tier is Paul Gassol. Paul Gassol, in my opinion, is one of the best pink diamonds to craft. Well-rounded player, decent mid-range, and decent rebounder. Next, we got Intimidators Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace is another head-to-head legend, one of the strongest players in the game with a 6 in that stat, great defender, and a solid rebounder. All right, next we got Dwight Howard. Dwight's actually an underrated center and is a great player to craft for the diamond tier players. Next, you got Andre Drummond. Now, I'll be very honest. I wanted to put Andre Drummond in the B tier, but because there's so many centers on this tier list, I couldn't include him in that B tier with the players that I'm going to list there. And trust me, when I get there, you'll understand. But Andre Drummond is my favorite diamond center. Great rebounder, great defender, strong dunker, and he's perfect for a team stacked with shooters. All right, last for the C tier is Yao Ming. Yao Ming is a great defender, really good mid-range shooter, and a decent rebounder. So he's one of those players that are great for your team as well. And he's somebody who's better in head-to-head. Kicking off the B tier is Wilt Chamberlain. Now, Wilt Chamberlain, we know, is a strong rebounder, strong post scorer, decent defender, but has no jump shot. And that is one of the main reasons why I couldn't put him in the higher tiers, because in this game, you need a center that can shoot. Right, at least make a mid-range, because the way the game is set up, especially head-to-head, those jump shots are very important. All right, next you got Patrick Ewing. Now, Patrick Ewing is a well-rounded center, solid stats, and a great mid-range and fadeaway. My only issue with Patrick Ewing that kept me from putting him into a higher tier is his speed, his playmaking ability, and his lack of a 3-point shot. Next, you got Bill Russell. Bill Russell, one of the strongest rebounders and defenders in this game. He's also a decent dunker, decent post scorer, but just like the other centers in this tier, he lacks a jump shot. Next center is Moses Malone. Moses Malone, again, is another strong post scorer, defender, and rebounder. Now, he actually has a mid-range shot, but he's another player that's a bit slow, lacks playmaking, and lacks a 3-point shot. Now, the next player I wanted to throw in the A tier, and that is Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal is one of the most dominant players in the post in this game. Strong rebounder, strong dunker, but has no jump shot whatsoever. and that hurt him a lot. To kick off the A tier is Demarcus Cousins. A Cousin is a super underrated gem and only has a gold card in this game. His stats are incredible, all higher than a 4, strong rebounder, strong post scorer, dunker with decent shooting. Next we got David Robinson. David Robinson is a strong defender, post scorer, rebounder, and he also has a decent mid-range jump shot. All right, the next player is Al Horford. Yes, I did say Al Horford. Now I'll explain. Al Horford is a hidden gem in this game. Do not sleep, right? He has a 5 in post scoring, a 5 in 3-point shot, and a 5 in mid-range. He can score in this game. He is a solid rebounder, a decent defender. I'm telling you, one of the gems that I love to use in this game. The next player is Nicola Yokic. Now, there is a reason why Yokic didn't make the S tier. Just trust me, his stats are good enough for him to be in the S tier. He's a solid shooter, a decent rebounder, right? But gameplay-wise, he is not a force in the post, and he is one of the weakest defenders for the center position. And this actually is why he was downgraded from the S tier to the A tier. But he's still pretty good, and if you were able to get him, congratulations. The next player is Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid is a strong post scorer, solid rebounder, great dunker, but has a spotty jump shot, and is not consistent enough to put Embiid in the S tier. His stats are closer to the B or C tier, but gameplay-wise, I had to raise his rating. Kicking off the S tier is the best center overall stat-wise, and that is Wes Unseld. Wes Unseld has a 4.8 overall stat average. He has a 5 in every category except shoot-off dribble. His only downside is his height, as he is one of the shortest centers in the game. But aside from that, he is incredible. Rest in peace, Wes. The next center is Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, Karl-Anthony Towns is elite. One of the best centers to use in the game, incredible scorer, decent in the important categories. Only downside is he's slightly slow. With the right gear, he is super elite. Next, you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem is unstoppable in the post. Great rebounder, defender, and a decent mid-range. But his biggest downside is the lack of that 3-point shot and his playmaking. It's not a big deal, right? Because his mid-range shot was good enough for me to advance him past Shaquille O'Neal and Wilt Chamberlain. Plus, I have to mention that he does have that special hook shot move that he can activate in the post. Now, the last center, and I saved this one for last because he is my favorite, and that's Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. The Dream has the smoothest gameplay for a center. He is fast, he can score in the post, strong defender, great rebound, and aside from what the stats show, he is an incredible passer and has a very strong mid-range. So that is the tier list. Now, there are a couple players that I wanted to include on the tier list. Aside from their stats being super low, their gameplay, even though I felt like they were good centers for my team, right? Because I have a lot of shooters on my squad, I just don't think they made the final cut for the tier list. And one of those centers is Steven Adams. I know he's in the playoffs team, so if you do have him, Steven Adams is a good center, but he slightly missed the cut for making the tier list. All right, so I appreciate all the support. I hope that you guys check out the other videos in the tier list series as well. I hope you enjoyed this video here and share it with anybody who's trying to figure out the best centers in the game, along with the best players in NBA 2K Mobile. So again, appreciate all the support. Thank you. Peace out.